Philosophy and theology relate to each other. And in some ways, you can't really address one subject without addressing the other. So that's not to say that they're exactly identical. They're not precisely the same. They deal with different things. But when you're doing theology, you always have certain assumptions about things, like the way you're using words, what terms mean, how you perceive of the nature of reality, that really plays a significant role in how you formulate your theology. So what actually led me to this path was starting to study particular doctrines that I was really interested in. Particularly, it was the doctrine of union with Christ. And I noticed a lot of shifts in this particular doctrine in the 20th century, and I started to ask just like, well, why did this change happen? Why did people stop talking about this? And when I discovered the reason, what I found was actually there was a big philosophical shift. And then those philosophical assumptions started to shape how people were reading scripture. They were shaping how people were reading the theological sources that they were reading, particularly Luther on this issue. And so it was really a study of one doctrine that got me to see that like these things are so deeply related that I think a lot of times we don't step back and ask the basic questions. And that's not just true in theology, that's true in a lot of areas of life. And sometimes we need to step back and ask, what are my assumptions about this or that? And so your answers to philosophical questions are always going to impact your theology. So what I always say is that it's not a matter of having a philosophy or not having a philosophy. It's a matter of whether you're aware of your philosophy or not. Because we all operate with assumptions that we've just gotten from culture, we've gotten from our families, or things that have been taught to us, even that we don't always recognize. And philosophy really helps us to discover what those are. And it can either cause us to challenge them, or it can help us to reinforce those things and say, yes, I think that those assumptions are correct.